What's up, Vault Hunters? I'm SchviftyFive, and this is Ultimate Vault Hunters. 3 Moze builds in a row. On this, the 8th installment of Ultimate Vault Hunters, we bring Psychotic Wolf back onto the program. He claims to have a Moze build that feels entirely different from any other Moze build you've ever seen, and is willing to put his title of Ultimate Vault Hunter on the line to prove it. Will Sweet Tooth live up to the hype or crash and burn? Let's find out. As always, thank you so much for tuning in and joining the conversation. Whether you're joining us on Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter, or listening along on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Spotify, we thank you for tuning in and listening to the program. For those who want to watch Ultimate Vault Hunters as soon as it goes live, you can hear it first bi-weekly, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time on Twitch and YouTube. Psychotic Wolf, how's it going? How you been?
Doing really well. Thanks for having me again. So happy to show you another one of my Moze builds.
Another Moze build. I'm excited to see how this one's different from your last.
It'll be much different, but I got to ask you a question now. Have you recovered yet from Slam Cannon? Because that was a lot.
It was so good. Oh my gosh. The damage just kept coming and coming and coming. It was insane.
She's crazy. She's absolutely crazy. And I love it because actually some of the community watched that Ultimate Vault Hunter and they've given me feedback from that build. And I've even had guys come back and go, I tried to make that build better, but I can't. I'm like, well, keep trying, friends. Just keep trying.
Slam Cannon is the best it's going to get, man. That's crazy. I'm excited to see what you're doing today, though.
Yeah, so we're going a little bit different today. So we saw Slam Cannon with no Iron Bear. We just recently saw GT Shorty, so Triple G's going a little bit of in an Iron Bear and out of Iron Bear. Now we're going nothing but Iron Bear.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Can you walk me through the build?
Sure can. We're going to start in the blue tree.
All right.
We maxed out top left with Fire in the Skags then. So this ability, we used it last time because Moze deals splash damage. It does extra incendiary damage.
Okay.
This is not really technically helping Iron Bear, but this is going to help us when we need to go back into Iron Bear. The interesting one is right to the right of it is Deadlines. Deadline is great Iron Bear talent because you're decreasing the drainage of the fuel. Every time you kill, it's actually adding more fuel back into your Iron Bear. So you're maximizing your time in Iron Bear.
So you want mobs all the time.
I want mobs all the time.
Okay, cool.
Next field to the right, we got Grizzled. So if ever we will eventually get out of Iron Bear, we want to get back into Iron Bear as quickly as we can. So the way that we're doing is we're using Grizzled. So every time we kill a mob, we're reducing the cooldown by 5. This does have diminishing returns, but in the end, we want to get there as quick as we can. So that's why we max it out. Okay. So next year we went on the left. We put 1 point in means of destruction, and everyone's going to say, "Why are you doing that?" Because you're regenning ammo and you're using grenades. Like you're an Iron Bear, you're not doing that.
Right.
But we are outside of Iron Bear at some point. And what I want you to do is I want you to unload all the grenades that you possibly can on every mob that is out there, and use all the ammo that you can. Because when you are in Iron Bear splash damage will trigger means of destruction. So you will generate ammo and you will regenerate grenades while you're in Iron Bear.
Oh, okay.
So that's where you're kind of doing a little preparation while you're in Iron Bear for when you're outside of Iron Bear. So we went 3 points in the middle there to toward cross promotion. So we're increasing our splash damage, which also increases Iron Bear splash damage, as well as double the effect of that splash. So we can increase the area of effect. So when we do use splash weapon damage with Iron Bear, that's helping us out. Okay. And to the right of that, we got 3 in Stainless Steel Bear. So again, we're increasing our fuel, we are increasing our armor, and we're also increasing our damage in Iron Bear. So this one's like a no-brainer, right? We're an Iron Bear, max out what we have. Now, you guys, I know there's people out there going to be like, why 3 points? We'll get to that when we talk about the gear, because in the end,
just going to ask why not 5? But
the class
I'll let you get to that.
Well, I can explain it now. Let's just go. Okay. So the class mod that I'm going to use, that we're going to utilize our max time in Iron Bear, actually gives us 2 points into Stainless Steel Bear. Okay. So we're actually going to have 5 out of 5 technically with our class mod. Cool. But the other talent that it's giving us in that class mod is it's giving us 3 into Deadline. So again, that's that middle talent on the top tier, which is again reducing our fuel usage, but every time we kill, we're gaining more fuel. So that, again, with that class mod, we're maximizing it. So, and the way that the points are working out, I could only allocate 3 in Stainless Steel Bear or Torgue Cross Promotion. By all means, if you are going to use this build and you want to max out Stainless Steel Bear, take 2 points out of Torgue Cross Promotion. And then you're going to max that out. And then you'll only have 1 in Torgue Cross Promotion. I can live with that as well. I decided to go this route because I preferred it this way.
Okay.
So the next tier, we took 1 point into Auto Bear. So that's that fun little talent. When you exit Iron Bear can still stay out and shoot while you're out there. There's 2 reasons. If you're running low on fuel and you're wearing the class mod that you're actually piloting Iron Bear, getting out before you run out of fuel actually triggers Auto Bear, and Iron Bear will stay out and help you kill stuff and trigger Grizzled and all that fun stuff. So it's a great talent to have, as well as the other class mod that I'm handing you guys. We can call it AFK Moze if you really want to, but you're actually going to jump into her Hellzerker Bear turret, and you require Auto Bear to have this class mod work. Okay. So we went 5 points. The next tier with that grenade with the wings and Vampire. Iron Bear benefits from Vampire. It's by half, but still, if you're doing splash damage, you basically have your vampiric skill while you're an Iron Bear.
Oh, nice.
So you can take damage, and you can recoup it by using splash damage.
Cool.
And then the last point we throw on the blue tree is to the last, which is just right under that. And if ever you go down when you're outside of Iron Bear, this is giving you that ability to be able to throw grenades while you're outside of Iron Bear, because like I said, you want to kill as quick as you can, and you want to unload all your grenades as quick as you can. So in this case, let's get up as fast as we can. So that's the blue tree.
All right, next tree.
Let's move over to the green tree.
All right.
So the green tree here, we're going to try and utilize as much as we can with Iron Bear, but we're actually looking more into what's going to happen when we're outside of Iron Bear.
Okay.
So again, top left, we got Cloud of Lead. We threw 5 points in there. So again, every 4 shots, we're adding incendiary damage to our bullets, and it's, again, helping us maximize our damage outside. So it's a good one. We go middle talent, top tier. That's Docker Bear. Now, this is a fun one, because if you just look at the current effect, this is where I made the mistake, and I've been playing Moze for a very long time, and I made a mistake on this one. And it just says increase Iron Bear damage by 50%. You actually got to read the explanation above it. You don't get 50% unless you're in that turret.
Ah.
So if people are out there putting points in Docker Bear and not going into your Docker Bear, it's a wasted point.
All right.
All right. So the next skill, we went to the second tier at the left. We got Stoke the Embers, which is we're increasing our incendiary damage. And this also includes Iron Bear's incendiary damage.
Right.
So that's a helpful tool for when we're outside and when we're inside. So it's a very versatile skill for us. The one to the right, we took Redistribution, which is our ammo regen. Again, this is for when we're outside of Iron Bear. So we're going to do some ammo regeneration when we crit. When we crit, we're going to get health regen. So we're getting some sustain on that one as well. So again, try and get into Iron Bear as quickly as we can.
Fantastic.
Then we'll go into the third tier. We went 5 points into Scorching RPM. This is one of the talents that a lot of people use with Moze because it's so versatile. We get an increased fire rate of 15%. So that's for Moze when she's outside of Iron Bear. But we're getting 20% crit damage with 5 points into it. And then Iron Bear is also getting 25% damage on top of that. So again, this skill is helping you out and in Iron Bear.
Cool. That's a great talent right there.
Awesome talent. Whenever I go down the green tree, I always get 5 points into there because it's so good.
Yeah.
And then the last point we put into the green tree, we put it in Specialist Bear. So that's the double guns that are like crossing each other like that. Basically, if you're using the same gun in Iron Bear, you're getting an increase of 60% damage. And I'm going to go a little bit of details into this. So what they mean by the same gun means you can use the same gun. But if you're using different augments, but you're using the same gun, that still applies. Okay. So that's a very important thing, because sometimes when I'm using the rail guns in the red tree, you'll see that I'm using, there's an electric like chain lightning kind of like thing. And then the other one is a corrosive explosive round. They both still get the 60% because I'm still using the rail guns in both hands.
Cool.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So then we're going to go into the red tree. And on the top tier, we're going to go into the middle talent, which is Security Bear. This is huge, huge, huge survivability for Iron Bear. It puts this bubble around you and it absorbs all that damage. Yes, you can lose that shield, but after a few seconds of not taking damage, that bubble comes back.
Wow.
And of course, if you get out of Iron Bear and you're running low on fuel and you're going to try and get into Iron Bear as quickly as you can, that auto bear will help you while it's still out, and that bubble will still be around you as well. So you can use that as survivability while you're outside of Iron Bear as well. So the next talent, 5 points in armored infantry to the right of it. Base gun damage, damage reduction when you're outside of Iron Bear. It's a no-brainer. It's a very easy 5 points to put in because you're getting damage reduction and increased damage. There you go. Second tier, we're going to go to the left side. We put 3 points in Drowning in Brass. I only threw 3 points in there because in this kind of build, it only made sense to throw the points in Drowning in Brass to be able to move down into the tree. Okay. If some people are using guns that are reloading quicker, you could technically throw those 3 points just above it into Selfless Vengeance, that little mag with a heart on it, because what that's doing now is whenever you reload, it's at the cost of some health, you're adding incendiary damage to your gun damage. So again, you're even more. So while you're outside of it.
Right.
So I chose Drowning in Brass because it's a stack. It's a max of 3 stacks. It's giving us gun damage. It's giving us decreased fire rate. But in the end, it's not really that important, that decreased fire rate, because Scorching RPM increases that by so much, you don't even notice it that much. So, and then on the far right, we went into Vladov Ingenuity. We're increasing our shield and shield recharge. So trying against survivability while we're outside of Iron Bear. And if we're inside of Iron Bear, where our recharge is going quick. And again, shock resists. Like I said last time with Slam Cannon, if we're getting shot with some shock weapons, the resist is very helpful because our shields are very important for us. And then the last point we put in, we went into the middle talent on the third tier called Experimental Munition. Whenever Moze or Iron Bear scores critical hits, we're dealing 15% increased incendiary damage. So again, Liz, we're doing fire damage.
Yeah. It's interesting. I see you don't take a single capstone.
In this one, no, because the way that I'm doing this is I wanted to have most of Iron Bear's weapons available to me. So I wanted most of the arsenal. Okay. Because in certain situations, you're going to go certain weapons. And let's talk about that a little bit now. So right now, I believe in the save file that I gave you, you may have I believe it's the railguns. And you might have double sides of the capacitive armature, which that is actually shooting electric beams. And if there's mobs nearby, it chains. So that's a nice one. If you're fighting a boss like Wotan that's heavy in armor, or anything that's heavy in armor, you could even go just right below it, that augment called Corrosive Sabot Rounds. That is actually doing splash damage, and it's very, very strong. And one thing that I do want to preface as well, when we get into the gear, I am using a Rocketeer class mod. If you're going to be going into Daka-Bear, personal experience, I find that the AI of Iron Bear, when you're using the railguns, is much better than all the other equipment that Iron Bear has for it. All right. Because for some odd reason, the Vanquisher rocket pods, if you don't throw any augments on the Vanquisher rocket pods, it shoots it once. But you could, as a pilot, you can hold left click and right click, and it's just shooting constantly. But it seems like in Auto Bear, it doesn't want to do that all the time. So with the railguns, they charge up, they shoot, and then it goes on cooldown. And if it comes back up, it shoots again. So that's why if you're going to be going with the Rocketeer rounds, go with the railgun. Or if you're fighting a boss like the way that I did in the red chest when I was doing Agonizer. Agonizer's all armor. Go double Sabot rounds, Corrosive Sabot rounds, and it takes them out very, very quickly. Cool. So like I said, it depends on your situation. So if any of you were watching Tess actually leveling up her Guardian ranks while she was on the Borderlands channel, she was using this build and she was using the Rocketeer, but she was actually using both augments for the railgun as capacitive armature because she was leveling up in the Slaughter Shaft. And if you position your Iron Bear in the proper position, he's just chaining to all those COV guys, and they just all die, and you're gaining XP. It's a lot of fun. It's very appealing to watch, and literally watch, because you don't have to do anything. You can actually have lunch while while you're doing it. But the only thing you got to watch out is when you're doing this, you will eventually expire in Iron Bear, and you'll jump out of the Daka, so you got to get back in Iron Bear. But the other interesting thing about that, I'll give you the one tidbit because I don't want to blow your mind today, Liz. You know, Slam Cannon did a lot to you this time.
Can't do it twice.
You can't do it twice. So the interesting thing about the Rocketeer, and when you're in Daka Bear, in the blue tree, that first tier top right talent where I mentioned that grizzled, where we're reducing our cooldown of Iron Bear when we're killing things, that applies when you're in Daka Bear.
Ah.
So when you're in the Daka turret and you and Iron Bear are killing stuff constantly, you're actually reducing your cooldown. So the time that you go out of Iron Bear, you can go right back in.
Cool.
So it's a lot of fun. So if you're going to be piloting, so we talked about the Rocketeer. The other class mod that I gave you was a Raging Bear. The Raging Bear, the way that I found it was designed is when you're actually in Iron Bear and you're actually controlling it. I prefer, in most cases, especially when it comes to maybe mobbing or certain bosses like Trant, for example, I love using the Vanquisher rocket pods. Those are the rockets on the blue tree on the right side. So if you use the Vanquisher rocket pods, I believe I mentioned this in Slam Cannon, although we didn't use Iron Bear, but I gave you guys the Vanquisher rocket pods with no augments because that is the strongest weapon for Iron Bear right now. However, if you're going to go farm Sandhawks, please, please, please use the active tracking augments for the rockets. Because if everyone remembers, when Katagawa Jr. first loads and you get into Iron Bear, he's splitting into 4. You can actively track every one of those splits, and your rockets shoot out and will home in on every one of them and actually kill Katagawa like that.
Wow. That would be fantastic, because screw Katagawa.
Right?
Like,
right?
Actually, I hate Katagawa Jr. so much.
When I was doing red chests for the community, when the red chest event was going and I was farming Sandhawks for myself, and everyone knows there's 2 red chests when you kill Katagawa Jr., I had this build because the active tracking, I go in, jump Iron Bear, track him, shoot, let him do his screaming, go get my Sandhawk, go open the red chest, and everybody wins.
Cool. Fantastic. Okay, so let's move on. What would you say the main rotation of this build is?
Get into Iron Bear, do damage. When you get out of Iron Bear, kill things as quickly as you can so you can get back in. Or if you're doing the AFK Iron Bear, you can load up Iron Bear. You got to place him in a good position where he can be able to kill things. Load him up, get out of him right away, get into your Daka turret. You can help shoot with the Daka turret, or you can have lunch or a little snack. You know, it really depends how you personally feel at that moment. But enjoy and watch things die. Cool.
What damage builds exist out there that you could compare in numbers to this build?
Compare numbers. That's a difficult one because, you know, we're using our action skill. You have so many different variations when it comes to this. You can use the rockets. You can use the active rockets, which are lower damage but higher reload. If you're doing the railguns with the chain, I believe when I was watching Tess do it, you know, we were seeing 14 to 15 million chain hits on COV guys. So like, it hits hard. However, you're limited to your fuel, and you're also limited to when you're outside of Iron Bear. That's when you're actually doing less damage. So that's why you want to try and maximize in and out of Iron Bear. There is one little trick that I can teach people. If you guys want, you could technically go in Iron Bear with the Rocketeer, out of Iron Bear. He'll last this whole entire time. But when you're outside of Iron Bear, you can actually switch your class mod, and your Iron Bear is going to stay in Auto Bear for its full duration. So if you want to have like Auto Bear be out of its full duration and want to do like a co-op, so you do damage one with your gun and Iron Bear helps you, kind of like deal like a friend, kind of like thing. You could put on a Blastmaster, you could put on a Minesweeper when you get out of Iron Bear. The only pain in the butt part is you're going to be swapping class mods very often.
Right.
I think that's the only playstyle that a lot of people don't like doing, so that's why I don't provide it. But you can if you choose to.
Only really feasible when you're playing solo too, so you can pause to switch your mod.
Yeah, but who doesn't want to sit in a turret and have a drink of water or a snack too, right? Like
That's true. The lazy gamer.
That's right.
Just damage everything. Duh. How did this build fare overall with the True Guardian takedown?
So it completed it. This was my third Moze build that completed the Guardian takedown. It did not do it as quickly as Slam Cannon. Slam Cannon is just a monster. Yeah. But you do have to be a little strategic in the weapons that you're using in Iron Bear. So when you're outside and you got like the first little entry, you have the red HP bars in the yellow. You could go with the rockets. You can go with the railguns. That's up to you in which ones you want to do. Or you can even go with the nukes. I know a lot of people love to use the nukes when it comes to the rockets. You can use that. However, when you're getting to bosses, sometimes you got to think. It's like, okay, this boss is going to have this health and stuff like that. You got to be smart. You have to choose wisely. And if it doesn't work out, obviously, switch things up and try different things.
Let's break it down. How about the crystal activation sections? How does it work there?
You can actually really make this very trivial. If you use the Rocketeer and go into your Daka Bear, Iron Bear will kill a lot of the Guardians outside of it. And I don't know why, but as of right now, if you go into Daka Bear and there's enemies within the square of the charge crystal, they don't count. So you'll charge the whole way through. So you can make the charging very simple. But if personally, sometimes I'm a kind of guy where I'm like, you know what, the devs, and me being a software developer, the devs took the time to make something unique. I like to play it out and not cheat the system, if you want to call it that.
Cheesy, yeah.
So me personally, I like to pilot it. I'll go with the Raging Bear and I'll pilot it. And knowing that they're heavy on shields, I will go with the railguns with the chain lightning, because they all come out at the same time. So you're chaining and you're killing things very quickly, and you just keep them out of the square that way.
Cool. How would you say it works with Anathema?
Anathema is an interesting one, because the explosions will destroy Iron Bear instantly.
Ooh.
So I would go with a Raging Bear, and obviously the first beginning parts, you have the armor. So you have the 2 lines of armor. So both guns, I always use the corrosive sabot rounds to take that out quickly. Mm-hmm. But you want to actually hippity hop. And when I say hippity hop, like literally space and space again. When you hit space multiple times, you jump and then move forward. And you jump and move forward. So it's almost like a dash in Iron Bear. Okay. So you do a little hippity hop to the teleport, you jump up and you come back. Now, where it gets a little difficult is you are going to run out of fuel at some point. If you can position yourself on an island that is not going to explode, you can get out of Iron Bear and let him shoot from above or wherever he's at to try and kill things so that he can trigger Grizzled so you can get to Iron Bear quicker. If that doesn't happen, you might have to be a little squeaky and work your way around and kill things so that you can get to Iron Bear as quickly as you can. So this is where I'm like, you do have to think and you do have to strategize how to kill these bosses properly so that you don't die.
Fair. I'm just thinking about how this is going to play out.
And of course, depending on the life bars. So again, Anathema is a perfect example. You got 3 life bars, right? The first 2 are yellow. The next one is shield. When you're getting to that point, the next time you go into Iron Bear, it's going to be difficult in multiplayer, but in single player, when you open up your menu, it's going to pause the game essentially.
Right.
And you can swap over to your capacitive armature, which is that shock damage. If you can do that in multiplayer safely behind a pillar and stuff like that, do so, because that's going to help you take him down quicker. Cool.
How would you say this works with Scourge the Invincible Martyr?
Very similar. However, you don't have to worry about exploding. Other than, when you get him into his immune phases and he jumps into the middle and you have the diadems that you have to trigger upon him, you can just stand there with Iron Bear and just hippity hop away again, just like normally. But again, when you're actually going to be transitioning into the portals, you do want to make sure that you're able to use your Iron Bear to its fullest, because you want to finish those as quickly as you can. And you don't want to be outside of Iron Bear, because sometimes you're like I said with Slam Cannon, you want to figure out where your points of vulnerability is. Mm-hmm. And in this case right now, your point of vulnerability is when you're outside of Iron Bear and you're shooting stuff. Yeah. So that's why I'm telling you, when you're outside of Iron Bear, chuck as many grenades as you can, shoot your guns, just do absolutely everything that you can to kill things quick so you can get back into Iron Bear, because that is your safety bubble.
Great. Okay. Good tip. Okay. So what would you feel this build excels at the most?
I feel that this build excels most in mobbing. Ooh. And then you actually have to, like I said, you got to be strategic when it comes to bossing. And I feel, especially like in the Guardian Takedown, there's so many mobs, even like you were saying, like charging those crystals.
Yeah.
Mobbing seems to be like a priority, I find, when it comes to like end game build makers.
So this isn't going to be a build that's just for going to boss checkpoints and killing bosses. You're talking about going all the way through Athenas and destroying everything on the way, that type of thing.
You got it.
All right, cool. This is a question we ask every episode, and I love it because you never know when there's going to be 3 more points added to the game. So if you had 3 more skill points to add to your talent tree, where would they go?
So personally, I feel our point of vulnerability, like I mentioned earlier, was when we're outside of Iron Bear.
Okay.
So I kind of want to maximize our damage even more when we're outside of Iron Bear.
Okay.
And where I want to go that route is we're going to go in the blue tree.
Ooh.
And I do want to get that capstone because I know that people have noticed that there are no capstones in this build.
Yes.
So I do want to grab short fuse.
Okay.
That will help our gun damage huge. So, but then you got to watch out for the splash to kill yourself. So
yeah, it's a bit of a dangerous build, isn't it?
It is. Moze is literally high risk, high reward.
Mm.
And the other 2 points, if we look up around in that mid tier where we got that auto bear to the left of it, there you can put 2 more points and pull the holy pin. So like I was mentioning earlier, when you're outside of Iron Bear, chuck as many grenades as you can. This will maximize your damage as well.
Fantastic. I can't wait to go over your grenades. I'm really excited. Sorry. I don't mean to skip around. What weapons and gear will be utilized for this build?
So this build was themed around like of a horror build. And the way that I wanted to go around this, because you can see my beautiful, clown head. So going with the horror theme, I'm using 2 guns. I'm only providing you with 2 guns. But if you don't want to use this horror themed, if you're going to grab this build, you're more than welcome to use any of the weapons that you enjoy. Just be aware that this is supposed to help you get an Iron Bear as quickly as you can.
Okay.
However, from DLC 2, Tom and Zam can drop the Soul Render. This is an AR that shoots. It's it can be automatic, it can be burst, and it can be semi-automatic. I prefer the full automatic. And what happens is when you're shooting, you can get purple skulls flying into people. It's so cool.
Cool.
The next gun that I'm providing you is an ion cannon. That is from the Fabricator in Jack's Secret in DLC 1. The only main reason that I gave you this, it's a very heavy hitting rocket launcher. And if you go for a fight for your life, it helps you get back up.
So that's weapons. What about the gear? Let's go over our artifacts and class mods.
Artifacts. I am providing you with a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Okay. That is a quest reward from Claptrap in the Lodge on the main story in DLC 2. You can go mag size, fire rate. Honestly, I'm mainly using it for the consecutive hits.
Okay.
The class mods here, this is where we're going to go a little specific here. So I provide you a Rocketeer with 5 in Fire in the Skag's Den. This is the class mod that you want to use if you're going to go in the Doka Bear.
Okay.
And the most important passive that you probably want to look on this is action skill damage, because action skill damage does apply to Iron Bear.
All right.
The Rocketeer drops from Tumor Head in Lectra City. So that's a vanilla class mod. The second class mod that I provide you is a Raging Bear. Now, if you were to choose to pilot Iron Bear, you want to make sure that the Raging Bear is equipped, because the Raging Bear is giving you that 3 points in deadline. So that's where we're reducing our fuel usage and increasing our fuel when we kill things. So that's what you want to use there. And it's giving you 2 in Stainless Steel Bear, where, like I mentioned in the skill, where that brings us to 5, right? Mm-hmm. And again, in the passives, you want to go action skill damage.
All right, cool. What about our shield and our grenade mod?
The shield that I provide you is a multivitamin Old God. This is going to be the hardest item that you can farm for.
Okay.
And the reason being is the Old God comes from DLC 2, and unfortunately, it's a world drop.
Ooh. At least it's not like a story drop, and you can only get it one time.
You're not wrong on that statement. The also hardest part about this is getting that multivitamin prefix.
Okay.
Because the multivitamin is giving you double health, so it's actually increasing your health by 50%.
Wow. Is this a legendary, or is it or is it a purple, or what are we talking?
This one's a legendary.
Okay.
The anointment that I give you is after exiting Iron Bear, kills reduce the cooldown of Iron Bear by 30%.
Okay.
And then in the grenades, this is going to be an interesting one because a lot of people don't have this. It is a Vindicator Ghast Call. And for our friend, I saw that.
It's a level 50.
Mine is 53.
Oh, lucky.
Because what happened was in the Valentine's Day event, we had loot skulls. So we were actually able to get the Vindicator Ghast Call from the Valentine's Day event.
You're very lucky.
Yes. But for most people like Liz, she just mentioned that she has a level 51. The reason being is because that is available in the Halloween event in I believe it's called Haunt. And we're hoping that, since Halloween is coming soon, that this can all come back.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think about it. I hope we get it back. Ooh. I didn't even think about it. Oh my God. I could have my whole build again. Terror builds. Oh, I'm sorry. I just got really excited. Did you have a terror build?
I did. And I'm actually going to be converting this build into a terror build. So we can technically say this is kind of an unfinished build. It works great by just going Iron Bear. But when terror comes in, the gear is going to change into terror anointments.
Oh my God. So what you're saying is you could easily switch out like your shield and grenade and things like that, but just keep your class mod?
The class mods are the most important of this build.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. I'm very excited. Leaving out the terror build for now, what anointments should players aim for?
Right now, because we don't have short fuse, I chose consecutive hits.
Okay.
We're using, like, if you can't use a gas call, I would always mention to use a cloning mining tracker. We mentioned this with Sweet Tooth, that it's like the best grenade. So
which is purple.
Which is purple.
Because people don't know.
And what the best part about it is all those grenade explosions are increasing your consecutive hits. So your gun is doing it, your grenades are doing it. So you're really amping up that damage fast. So again, You're killing and get back in.
Fantastic. What gear, if anything, is considered essential?
The class mods.
Okay.
Also, if you don't get your hands on a old god, you can get a Mendel's multivitamin. It's a quest reward in Athenas. I believe it's called the Holy Spirits. That will give you a shield with that double multivitamin on top of that. And I guess I didn't explain this, and I'm sorry for not explaining this. The more HP we get, the more armor we get in Iron Bear. Simple as that.
You were saying there's a shield that you can get from a quest. Is that the monk quest? The one where you have to do like the wine or something? Or
Correct.
Okay. That's the one where that extra little red chest is back in the back to the left. I think. Yeah.
Absolutely correct. I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah. I used to do that. I just go spam the red chests in Athenas and go back and forth and back and forth. Earlier, you mentioned using the 2 class mods. You said this several times, and I want to go over it again. You use one when you're inside Iron Bear and one when you're utilizing Daka Bear, which is when it's an autopilot. Which mod do you use for which? Just so we can be clear for everyone at home.
To be super clear, if you want to pilot Iron Bear, use the Raging Bear.
Okay.
If you want to sit in your turret and let Iron Bear do its thing and you can help it out, you want to use the Rocketeer.
Fantastic. Thank you.
No
Are
problem.
there any specific roles that you consider ideal as class-specific passives on the mod?
Action skill damage. Action skill damage will increase your Iron Bear damage. And if you want to really get specific, then you can go splash damage, area of effect damage, because those, like if you're using the rockets or using the Sabbat rounds, those do affect the damage of Iron Bear.
I'm just thinking about how much damage that would do. That just sounds insane. And we've already gone over grenade. You use the Vindicator gas call. And you just said cloning mining tracker if you don't have that one?
Correct.
Okay. And the shield, can you go over the shields just one more time?
So the shield I provide is an old god with a multivitamin. The multivitamin is the important part of this whole thing because, like I said, the more HP you get, the more armor you get in Iron Bear.
Wow.
So the old god is giving us that multivitamin and giving us incendiary damage. But if you don't have access to that, just go do the quest, get your multivitamin. And for those who have that quest completed, because you can use the Iridium Fabricator in Legendary mode, you can actually pop that out at the cost of Iridium.
Really? Oh, that's cool. That's a good tip. Didn't know that. A lot of what this build provides is DLC related. Are there any options or substitutions for players who may not yet have any of the DLCs?
Yes. So outside of Iron Bear, instead of using the Soul Render, you could use like a Plague Bearer. You can use a Scourge, kind of like going down the same path as like Slam Cannon. Again, use big damage weapons, kill things quick, get in. The artifact, you can use an artifact that gives you like area of effect damage. That is something that's going to increase your damage even more because that's going to be, again, it's going to be a vanilla thing. But you can get your consecutive hits on guns as well if you choose to do so. But if you're using like a Plague Bearer, then you'll want to go down like the splash, kind of like increase your damage and splash. So it really depends what weapon you want to choose, but you can do this build in vanilla Borderlands 3.
Fantastic. Will this build work if you don't have the proper weapons and gear yet?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
I had a friend who just hit level 60, went to M10, and he had a Rocketeer, or actually, he was a Raging Bear. He had a Raging Bear, and he was able to take out M10 Grave Ward without any gear.
Ow, fantastic. All that incendiary damage, I assume.
Yep.
What would be a suitable stopgap until I have the optimal loot needed?
Just get your class mods. Get your class mods and utilize Iron Bear to farm to get your gear.
Okay.
And again, CMT, because like a cloning mining tracker is through the vendors, you can easily just, vendor farm, which is boring.
Yeah. It's boring but effective, or you could red chest farm. I mean, if you'd like, is save quit red chest farm. That's not super fun either, but that's how you get some of those purples. It's just so often we look over the purples that are dropping from bosses, so it's probably better to find them there anyway. What guardian rank talents should players focus on to get the most bonus stats for this build?
Ooh, that's a very good one. I don't think anyone other than action skill cooldown, I think would probably be a really important one, because again, when you're vulnerable, you want to get into Iron Bear as quickly as you can. The rest of them just help you out in general. Nothing really increases Iron Bear's damage per se. So you're just utilizing your you're trying to minimize your vulnerability, I guess, with all of your guardian ranks. So I'd say really focus on either elemental damage, action skill cooldown. So you're looking more of the hunter kind of like skills in your guardian ranks.
Okay, how about percent max health to increase armor?
Actually, you're absolutely correct on that one. Good call. You got me on that one.
Okay, fantastic. Good. What guardian rank talents, if any, should a player disable to use this build?
Leave them all on.
Really?
Yep.
When spending a guardian token, what are the stats players should focus on spending their tokens on to obtain for maximum min-max potential?
Well, you corrected me. We can go max health. Because that max health, like I said earlier, will increase our armor in Iron Bear. So right now, if you grab Sweet Tooth and you go into M10, your Iron Bear actually has over 1 million armor.
Wow. What? That's insane. Okay. All right, cool. So Bounty of Blood introduced 3 new talents in the Guardian rank tree: Groundbreaker, Dead Man Walking, and Lead or Alive. If you had to pick one to focus on getting first for this build, which would it be and why?
I would go with Lead or Alive.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about our vulnerability. There's chances that we're going to go down when we're outside of Iron Bear. And if you've unloaded all your ammo on a mob and you still went down, having your weapon reloaded while you're down will really help you.
There. All right. Yeah. That survivability is really important. I'm going to be very excited to see this in action. Are there any mayhem modifiers that one should keep an eye out for that will enhance this build?
So personally, Speed Demon's always a fun one. You ever see Iron Bear run fast?
No, but it sounds fun.
Oh, it's hilarious. So I really enjoy Speed Demon. I'm currently running Chilling Them Softly, so I'm not doing any cryo damage, so that doesn't affect me at all. Drone Ranger, I'm doing a whole bunch of damage, so the drones, again, don't really hurt me and either heal them, so it's fine. And I don't really crit that much, so I actually use one of the unpopular ones called Not the Face, which reduces our crit damage by 75%.
Huh.
Even in Daka Bear, so when you're using those Chain Lightnings, they don't really crit. And they chain and they do millions of damage. So again, we're choosing modifiers that are the least punishing.
That makes sense. How did you test this build?
Just like Slam Cannon. We went to Athena's first. Everything went well. We went to the Anvil. Everything went decent there. I started on Scaled Malawan. Then that was kind of simple. We went to True Takedown Malawan. And then I went Scaled Guardian because, like I said with Slam Cannon, I gauge how it feels in that run to go to that next step. And because it wasn't clear that I could go straight from True Takedown Malawan to Guardian, I just took baby steps to get to that rep.
That makes sense. It's a reasonable way to do it. What were some of your initial impressions when you tested the build?
I'm so happy Iron Bear's back.
Really?
Yeah. Because for the longest time, Iron Bear was only used to trigger your action skill end. And now that Iron Bear has, so before they did M10, Iron Bear was in a good spot. And then when they reintroduced M10, Iron Bear fell backwards again. And then they scaled him back up, which allowed this to happen all over again. And I'm very happy with it.
Cool. What did the numbers look like that compare to similar builds, both ones you've crafted and ones you've seen other community members display?
So like I was mentioning, Iron Bear itself is doing millions of damage. When you're outside of Iron Bear, you're not doing that much damage. So again, you want to try and maximize that. So in Iron Bear, you're in a very comfortable spot. Like I said, you're in your safety bubble. But when you're outside of it, you're stressing and you're like, let's get things down so I can get back into that safety bubble. So it didn't kill things like, so if we want to compare to Slam Cannon, she didn't kill as quickly as Slam Cannon, but she got the job done.
Yeah, that Slime Cannon, man. That was something else. Do you feel that there are any other changes that Gearbox could make to the game that would further refine this build without making it drastically over or underpowered?
I would like other weapons of Iron Bear to be a little bit more viable. So for example, Iron Bear has flamethrowers. Nobody's ever used them yet because in endgame, it's not doing as much damage as it should to be able to complete stuff. And one of my fantasies in this game, and if you guys are listening, I want to do a Rock'em Sock'em Iron Bear match. I want to punch things.
That sounds hilarious. That's interesting with the flamethrowers that they don't do that much damage, considering all the extra incendiary damage Moze does with this build.
I don't understand either. I think if we got like a straight up damage increase to those, I think it would really help them. And they can even squirt out like corrosive. So you could even get like armor targets. So again, these are not viable at this very moment, but I would hope that in the future that we can get a little love to them and then I can swap things out because I like new toys. Maybe
they're watching and maybe they'll hear this. Maybe they'll buff it. Are we already at the end? Oh no. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show. This has been super fun. Is there a build that you can take maybe 15 seconds to tease for your next appearance? Because we know we're going to have you on the show again. Perhaps something pertaining to a terror-based build since Bloody Harvest is hopefully right around the corner?
Oh, well, I really want Terror to be with Sweet Tooth. But there is a build that I am working on. She's not doing Guardian Takedown yet, but I'm really trying new toys out. And I call her the Fire Goddess of Borderlands.
Really?
And her name, and you're going to love this because it uses a little bit of French with me. Okay. But her name is Moze Brûlé.
Oh, nice. Moze Brûlé. I like it. I like it. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on the show. And thank you, Psychotic Wolf, for joining as well. Where can we find you on the internet? You can find me on my Twitch at twitch.tv/psychotic_wolf. I stream Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to midnight. And you can find me on Twitter at P_wolf82. Unfortunately, Psychotic Wolf was taken. Oh, no. Are you on YouTube as well? I am. However, I don't have a custom link. So probably the best thing is go to my Twitch, go in the chat, type !YouTube, click on the link. You're good to go. Wonderful. We'll find your videos that way. Well, we'll get you some subs and then you can get that custom link. Yes! Yay! And I'm SchviftyFive. You can find me at twitch.tv/SchviftyFive, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of it. Same place, SchviftyFive. Sweet Tooth is a build almost guaranteed to leave your enemies in a heap of twisted metal. See what I did there? Get it? Wolf, for the creation of a Moze build that stands all on its own, a completely unique take on the mech warrior of Minos Prime, I can thankfully say that your status as an ultimate Vault Hunter remains intact. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a blast. Guardian Takedown and Bounty of Blood are both out now, so give Sweet Tooth a try and let us know the results via your favorite social media platform. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on Thursday, September 17th on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. On our next show, new Borderlands creator team member DePriesticles will join us with a new take on what it means to be an Ultimate Vault Hunter. If you'd like more details about this build, you can find a link to more information and the build in the podcast description section. Happy looting to all you Ultimate Vault Hunters out there.